Hi everyone, Suzanne Tulien with Ignite, my personal brand membership peeps in this group. This is our live coaching call, and today is what, the 22nd? Yes?
Yeah.
January 22nd. Again, a Happy New Year to every one of you. I hope you've kicked off this year with a blast and you're hit the ground running. And I want to just open this discussion up with a concept I thought of the other day because I see it happening all the time and I just never really labeled it. And I just want to talk about accidental branding. Accidental branding. All of us are guilty of this. So I want to just open this up. What is accidental branding, right? We all know, all of you are graduates of the course. Not everybody in the membership program will be graduates, but you guys are. What do you think accidental branding is? Anybody?
Unintentionally giving an impression that you don't really want to give.
High five, high 10. Exactly. And all it is those things that we end up doing without really thinking about it. And that is from showing up late to an appointment, right? Not returning a phone call, not returning an email, not being prepared for the meeting or prepared to deliver, right? You're not clear on your brand promise. You under-deliver on the promise unconsciously, right? You're not really that aware of it. Incongruent behavior. Maybe you're at a networking event and you had that third glass of wine, right? We've all done that. And we start talking about things we generally shouldn't be talking about in a professional environment, right? An incongruent appearance. So I've been seeing a lot of this. I don't know if you guys are now probably more keen to picking up on these scenarios since you've been through the program. But I've been through lots of networking groups where people are in professional positions and they come to these groups wearing hoodies and ripped jeans. And, you know, in your first impression, let's say I have never met these people before, right? My first impression is, what the hell are you doing at this event? This is networking. This is about creating a brand experience and letting people know that you're an expert in a certain area or that you have credentials at some level. And so these are things that happen that instead of accidental branding, I'm going to reterm to unconscious branding. Unconscious branding. And it's something that we all fall into occasionally because we haven't kept up with who we are as our brand. We haven't reviewed our values and style attributes. We forget our brand promise. We're in a rush. Too many things are happening. We don't give ourselves the time that we need to prepare and show up professionally. Those are the things that can make or break your brand in any situation. Sometimes we only have one impression, the first impression. Right. So for some people, well, let's take real estate agents, Leela. I'm going to pick on your industry for a little bit. You know this, being in the industry, as long as you've been in this industry, you know they're literally a dime a dozen. We are overpopulated and saturated with real estate agents. If for a moment I thought that you didn't care because you showed up late or you were unprepared, guess how many thousands of real estate agents I can go to like tomorrow, right?
About 4,000 in El Paso County.
Right. Exactly.
Yep.
So what I'm just pointing out here is just to continue to create the awareness of what all of you, I can say this in this group, all of you have done and spent the time and money and effort on clarifying who you are as a brand and keeping it conscious. Creating the strategy behind it and being deliberate in how you deliver you. Okay? Don't fall into this unconscious branding. I mean, we're all human. It's going to happen every once in a while, but I want you to be prepared to recover from it. What would you do if you did slip up? Like Tylenol, right? The big PR thing in Tylenol way back when
right.
Story. They were one of the best. They had created a model around how to recover from that particular situation that was out of their control. What they did is they commanded everything being taken off the shelves within 24 hours of that coming to the news source. So that's always touted as one of the best brand actions that was taken, that historically we can tell as a story. When we talk about personal brands, we can talk about Tiger Woods, right? We can talk about Armstrong, right? Everybody was so just in love with him and his sport and his accomplishment, and then only to be broken by lies in taking those drugs. And, oh my gosh, how do you recover from that? So what is your crisis recovery plan, right? I wanted to just infuse that into your brain to get you, again, thinking more consciously about how you're showing up every day. And in so many venues. We got social media. We got the regular marketing venues. We got tons, you gals are out there doing so much networking. You're showing up all the time. So do you do that double check before you leave the house? Do you think about who are the 3 people I want to meet? What am I going to tell them? What is happening in my world right now? How am I different? Right? It's just keeping all of that conscious. That is the secret sauce of showing up with your competitive advantage. That's the work. You guys did the work. You prepared it. You're clear. Now deliver on it. So now with that, I'm going to open it up to questions, comments, even just a collaborative discussion maybe of things that you've seen accidental branding happening somewhere else that they don't even know they're doing that. It's, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Well, I can agree with you on leaving the house dressed professionally, right? In October, when I was in New York City, I bought a pair of ripped jeans, my first pair of ripped jeans.
Congratulations.
Since I was a teenager and actually ripped them intentionally, right? So bought a pair of ripped jeans at Loft. They are freaking awesome. They fit totally perfect. I love them. And I rarely get to wear them. Because how often am I not going to see somebody, right? It's like, man, I don't even know what I spent on them, but I can rarely wear them. It ticks me off.
And how much did you pay for them in New York? Probably a pretty penny.
They only knew how much. They weren't bad. I expected a way worse, so they weren't bad. So I can't actually complain about the cost. But yeah, it's just that I rarely get to wear them.
So the question there then I would propose is, where do you draw the line between going somewhere at a professional event, right, versus going out with the girls and getting to wear your jeans, you draw that line. And, I don't think you would ever show up lucky. You know what I mean? Right. Where as long as you can define what that line is and that you're still congruent with your core values and your style and how you actually show up on I don't see that you would change your entire personality when you're with your girlfriends versus your professional person. I see a lot of congruency there.
Right.
So just think about, where would I draw the line in that space? This is a casual girls' night out. We're all having fun. Even though we may do business together, we're not at a closing. You're not showing me a house. You're not, you know what I mean? Right. Where the expectation would be a little bit different.
Yeah.
Cool. She's going to wear her jeans now. Exciting.
Right. I want to see him now. So you're going to have to post him or something.
I'd wear them every day if I could.
Yeah. Regina, any thoughts on that comment, that topic?
it's interesting because I don't know when I was thinking about this, but I know it's been in the last few days with this whole everything I'm doing physically and just more natural. And even, when I posted the little video on Facebook, no makeup, it felt really good. Sometimes I really don't like playing games, and I know, you know what I mean? That's not what we're doing. I mean, we're trying to represent something, but it made me think about what is it I want to represent and what does it look like? So how to blend like a natural look with a professional look, for instance, if that makes sense. So I don't even know what I'm supposed to, I try to just be me, but I don't know how that shows up to other people or what that looks like.
So what's the difference between just being you and, if there is, being professional? If you would draw the line there, what does that look like?
Well, naturally, I would not be too decked out. I mean, that's not where I come from. I mean, sports and that's just not, So, I feel like, I don't do heavy makeup. I'm true to me, but when it comes to the dress, I have wondered and we talked about it and I never really followed through, if like a jacket with a logo that has a more medical, even though I'm not medical, has a more consistent professional look instead of just relying on clothes in my wardrobe all the time, because that's pretty limited. I can't do a ton with that right now, so I'm working with what I have. But that might be something that could help me in that category.
I have to say, I watched your video this morning, and I was giggling the whole time that they were talking about the ripped jeans and everything, because I thought, ooh, you were wearing ripped jeans, but you looked good. You really did. And you know what? I feel like you're talking about health and well-being and feeling great on the inside and having it manifest to the outside and just all the way around, just, health. And I thought it was great. I thought it was awesome that you had no makeup on. Personally, I would never buy blue jeans with holes in them, because back in the day we used to have to earn them. That's just me.
Yep.
So I get kind of frustrated when people wear them. Not you guys, because you're my generation-ish. You're younger, whatever. But at least you kind of get the idea. But those young kids that just get to go out and buy them and wear them, like, no. But
honestly,
anyway, I loved your video. I loved that you were wearing what you were wearing.
Well, what I would say about that is this could be a perfect example of unconscious branding, because honestly, it was more about being in the moment, and it was more about how I was feeling, and I forget, I had to be somewhere. So in other words, could it have been done different? Could it have been, you know what I mean? Could I have changed my clothes? It could have been
always
one of those not thought through things that we're talking about.
But I thought it was great. I really did. I thought it was great, because you weren't focusing on anything that was outward. It was more of an internal thing that just kind of happened. I thought it was great, but that's just me. And Suzanne, you probably have a different look on it because you're a brand coach. But personally, I'm on the thing, so whatever.
So that just brings up a technique that I know Regina knows about. Terry, you weren't in my my speaker workshop yet, were you? Have you been in there?
Your which one?
Speaker workshop? I don't think so.
Not yet. Not yet.
So Regina and Leela, remember the technique called as-ising? As-ising. And what that is that you acknowledge the situation that's happening. So up front, right?
Yeah.
So this is just an example, Regina, and I just need to try it on. Like, you would open up the video by saying, I'm not sure if this was really meant to be a personal video that you wanted people to know personally, or if it was in a professional
See, it was personal, and but everybody sees it. So how do you differentiate on something like that on Facebook?
You don't have a personal page and a business page, then?
No, I do have a business page.
Okay. So if it's personal,
yeah,
then you post it on your personal page, and that kind of just qualifies, it stays in that lane, even though you may have some crossover of, but the as-ising technique is saying that mostly, like, this is how I would open the video. Most of you know me as a brainwave technician or brain balance technician, right? But you may not, and I do just bleep, right? And then, but most of you may not have known that I am doing this special cleansing program. And so you're like laying it out there as authentic as you can to set the stage.
Right.
So, which creates a credential around how you're showing up, right? That you just spent 7 days doing this, and what your experience was all about. Hence, I'm like, just like totally, out of my work or professional environment. I'm talking to you face to face right now as a friend. Right? Just open it up. Like, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but
right.
That's how you kind of as is it. You tell it like it is with real honest talk, and give that set the scenario. So I don't think that, she runs a business, she's a CEO of her own business, and what is she doing looking like that? And so I've got all these conversations going in my brain,
right,
nitpicking things maybe because I don't understand.
Right.
So it's just an example of an as-ising technique. But if you think that some of your client, it's going to spill over into your professional base, you want to set it up in some way so they understand where you're coming from. And
but at the same time, so many of the people on Facebook aren't necessarily professional. So I also wouldn't want. So maybe that would be appropriate if I did it for, I don't know, if I was going to put it on my business page for sure. And maybe I already did. I don't remember. I may have shared it. So anyway, this is great.
So conscious branding is about thinking that through.
Yes.
Preparing for that potential.
Yeah.
For confusion, for misalignment, for people to question.
Right.
It's all in the preparation, really understanding what are you really trying to say? What are the 3 takeaways you wanted to tell people? Why did you feel compelled that you had to put this on video and share this really intimate experience that you had? I mean, think through those reasons and really, get prepared in your brain what you want your leave behind to be.
Right.
That will help elevate and keep you in alignment.
Right.
Without the worry of like, what if they see this? And, did I say this? And, this is really about checking in with yourself again and just saying, do I even need to post this? I mean, whose business is it anyway? I mean, those are questions you want to ask, right? And if you have a purpose, go ahead.
If I kind of feel like if you're keeping your values and your core beliefs and those things, and you're being authentic, even if you're wearing blue jeans with holes in them, who cares? That's me. I mean, and I may, be different from what it may be different for me than for anybody else in that respect. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't bother me ever. I mean, in fact, if I met a CEO who, was a billionaire because of who she was and what she did and how she did it and how she authentically showed up, if she didn't have a pair of blue jeans, I probably would stress out. That's just me, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't understand. I mean, I see what you're saying as far as the showing up prepared and ready to meet whomever or whatever. But I just don't feel like that's a huge thing.
There is a fine line, and I get what you're saying. I'm really glad you brought that up, because there is a fine line between delivering, creating and keeping a level of perception that you want to maintain, and respecting or disrespecting the audience who you're delivering it to. And here's my example. There was a PVG, a peak venture event that a group of us in Colorado Springs put together, and we had this big entrepreneur bigwig come down and speak at our event. This was a business event, right? And we were so excited that he was coming down. He came in with ripped jeans and a hoodie and was literally on, everyone's in a suit and tie and dressed up. It was a cocktail event. It was, and the audience felt disrespected because of the lack of what we felt was the lack of care or even preparation to show up. You know, you've got to just, it's a fine line, Terry. You've got to really weigh the fact that I just wrote, I'm a millionaire and no, I'm not, I don't care anymore and I'm going to be me, versus respecting the context.
Yeah, I understand that.
Profession. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm glad we're talking about this because it's a great, interesting contrast, isn't it?
Sure.
But you have to find your own.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I definitely get what you're saying.
Yeah, like I wouldn't show up. I mean, I'm getting paid for a 2-hour workshop for an association I don't even know, but I'm doing a ton of research on them to figure out who they are. And I always teach my participants to dress one level above the audience, whatever that is. You know, if they're a football team, then you dress, you know, in nicer jeans and nicer, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But you dress one level above because it's about commanding the authority and respect of you being on stage. Why should I listen to you? I mean, you know what I mean? So again, this could go on and on forever, this discussion, but I want you to protect your brand DNA. And once you define what that line is, showing up in an incongruent space in attire or appearance or whatever is incongruent. And it's going to dilute what you've been creating. So I think the bottom line to this is really just think about your consistency in showing up. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Great. Good question. I mean, that was a great scenario to talk about. What else is going on? Or do you want to add to that, Regina? What are your other thoughts?
No, just again, from someone on the outside, I guess it's good for me to have feedback of like, would a jacket or some kind of something, you know, with a brand that's a little bit more professional, just because it is a different kind of business, if that might be a good idea.
Here's what I would say to that. Yeah. I would say, number one, be careful, because wearing a lab coat gives off the perception that you are medical.
Yeah,
or
I wouldn't do a lab coat.
Okay, whatever. So I would talk about, like, name it. What is it? Is it a tech coat? What is it? You know, if there is a confusion in a pilot jacket standing on stage, you know, people would think I was a pilot.
Right.
Or is it more fitness related wear, right? You're talking about health and wellness and fitness to go along with your business. Maybe it's more fitness related for your logo.
Well, not the logo so much as the jacket.
Right, but your logo on the jacket.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Well, I may just have to give that some more thought.
Mm-hmm.
Around what I feel like would represent. Mostly I want it to look professional,
right,
and consistent. Not so, I definitely wouldn't do I don't want to give the impression of medical. That's not,
so if you can find a jacket that's similar to a lab coat that might be off color, like off white, or not off white, but not white, like the teal that might be in your logo, or the green or light brown, whatever that might be. It's a little different. And then you put the embroidered logo on it.
Right.
Could be interesting.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't really create the immediate perception that you're an MD, but it's a uniform. You know, it's something that you would wear consistently, and when you have appointments and stuff, you just throw it over whatever you're wearing.
Right.
Yeah. And when you're doing your videos and stuff, if it's that professional lane.
Yeah. Okay.
Great. What else is going on, ladies? We've got 15 minutes.
Wow.
I have some fun stuff happening.
What's happening?
George, our GM, is leaving KCME, so we have a new person coming in. Yes.
Oh.
I don't know if anybody's supposed to know this, but he posted on Facebook, so I'm assuming he's telling people. Yeah. But he's leaving. You know, I have very, I don't know, mixed feelings about the whole thing. I'm wondering who's going to be coming in, what's going to be happening there. I mean, he didn't take me very seriously when we were talking about things. They didn't keep my contract the way they were supposed to, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. When I talked to him about my solopreneur, you know, little endeavor, he was like, yeah, with the way they remunerate around here, everybody needs a side gig. And he had told me before that I was going to make a ton of money and everything would be fine. And when I first came on a year ago, and it did not turn out the way it did. Although I'm still working my butt off, and I'm doing great, you know, doing well, not great, but I'm doing well. And I'm just kind of concerned and curious. Can you speak to that a little bit? He's going to be going to who is it? WFMT in Chicago. I mean, he's like leaving. So
what is the question?
Again, talking to CC about becoming, you know, rooming with those guys and RMPBS. So, you know, so I'm not ready to jump off ship yet, but I'm just like, what?
You guys have been talking about that for a long time too.
No, they talked about it 2 months after I got there. They said not going to happen, and now they're revisiting.
Okay.
Now that our board has changed, so I'm really.
So what's your question then, Terry, that I can help you with?
Well, since I've been there a year and the other salesperson's been there for 2 years, it's already got a little bit of a culture there. And so, you know, do I just stay the course and, you know, I mean, you know, just kind of wait and see what happens, or I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we were supposed to have a meeting this morning, but George canceled it. And then he called me and said, oh, everybody was here and you weren't here because he canceled the meeting. So I just wanted to tell you what was happening. So we'll schedule some time to talk soon. Bye, you know.
So he canceled it, but they had it anyway?
Seems so. Yeah.
Interesting. So, okay, couple of things. In personal brand leadership, if you really want to wrangle this and really step into your full potential, the first thing I would say is consider rejecting passivity. And what that means is that you're not going to sit around.
You just kind of broke up for a second.
Okay. I said the first thing I would ask you to think about is to reject passivity.
Okay.
In and of itself is kind of self-defining, but never sitting around and waiting for things to happen.
Right.
Right. So you make a decision to go this direction or this direction. Right. And if you make that decision because you're curious as to, let's say you're going to stay, because you're curious as to how this is going to shake out. And that's also just curious as to how it's going to shake out is passivity, because you're not doing anything. You're waiting for it to shake out. Right. I would really recommend that if you decide to stay, let's say you give it a season through second quarter, that's a goal. And I want you to go all in.
Oh yeah. Guns are blazing.
Yeah.
I mean, the bad thing is, like, for the last 3 months, I haven't given as much as I could have because my dad was sick and died. And so I would do everything over again. But now all of that's behind me. We buried him January 2nd. And now I'm busting my butt because I missed 3 months. So,
and I want you to every day say, I'm committing, and I'm recommitting and recommitting until May 1st or whatever that date is for you. Right.
Okay.
That's the only way you're going to reject passivity and dive into see what your full potential can be.
Okay.
I want you to consider this question. If you were to leave right now, would anyone be surprised?
Probably not, except I would, because I'm not comfortable leaving, not knowing what's ahead.
Right.
You know?
So I want you to think about this. If no one would be surprised, that means you think they know you're not all in.
Maybe. Well, no, they know that I'm all in, but I also think that they know that they haven't kept up the contract. They didn't, you know, they didn't honor my contract. They didn't honor what we talked about.
I get that piece. Let's say that all the actionable details that surrounded this decision to leave, so pretending you're leaving, are gone, and that just the perception of the culture, well, I knew she was going to leave. There's a reason you said that, because you're feeling internally like a little conflicted whether you should or not. And it can never be hidden. People are picking up on that energetically. So my point in asking you that question is, how do you now get all in to the point where everyone will be, oh my God, she left? She was doing so well. Things were happening. She loved her job, right? That's
which I do.
That's showcasing that you were all in, and that you rejected
my job. And we've had some good discussions, George and I. But you know, first of all, a lot of those folks work out of the office there, but I can't, because there's so much going on, and I can't walk around and be loud and, you know me, kind of noisy, you know, I'm a little bold, and I can't be animated and whatever in that office, because I share an office with 4 other people. I mean, face to face, you know, and so I work from home a lot, so I'm not there a lot. So I do miss a lot, which kind of annoys me. And that, just like this morning, you know, if I'd have known they were going to have a meeting, well, of course I'd have been there. But he said, we're not having it, so I didn't show up. And then he calls me and says, oh, we had a meeting anyway. And I feel that's how the whole thing has been with this organization. And it's just really weird.
So the leader in Terry would say, oh my gosh, did I miss something? Because I thought that it was canceled. Who can catch me up on this? Who can I call? Who can I meet with? 2 or 3 people in the meeting that can catch me up with their version of the meeting. That's the leader in Terry.
Well, there's only one other guy that would usually be in the other meeting. And
however, you need to catch up and feel involved so that you can take action instead of being passive and being, you know, I'm not saying that you're this, but feeling like they did this anyway and now I'm a victim. I don't know.
I don't have the victim thing, but I'm really curious how it went, you know.
Well, then ask. See, let's go find someone. Let's go have coffee. Catch me up on the meeting. I'm excited about what happened. That's
I'm going in tomorrow. We're going to have we're going to schedule. He said let's schedule some time to talk, and so I'm definitely going in tomorrow, so I can say, okay, let's see tell me what's happening, you know. So
yeah.
But I'm
so
still
when I
kind
say,
of
so you always have to check in around situations like that, and check in with yourself. And at the core of your identity lies the capacity to lead. At the core. So you have to be able to lead you first. And when you begin leading yourself, people see that. And they call on you to take leadership roles outside of that.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's good. Thank you.
You'll get there. It's practice. It's looking at your DNA every day. It's reading a definition every day. It's doing some of those daily manifestation sheets, right? Getting into it, owning it. It's about putting on the ring, right? That's another phrase. When I'm all in, I'm putting on the ring, right? I'm accepting
I have issues with that.
The ring. You know, it's that kind of commitment, but give yourself a season and say, you know, I went all in for the last 3 months. It's still not working for me, so I'm going to check out and do my thing. Yeah. But then you feel really good about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I am anxious to see what happens, you know, whether we do become a part of the other groups, KRCC and IMBDS. That would be great, you know, provided we got a good leader.
Then commit.
Yeah.
Just make the decision. You know, when you get to control the context of your environment because you're controlling you.
From inside.
It's a whole new world you get to manifest and create. in your experience.
Thank you. Very good.
Yeah. I'm excited for you.
I'm pretty excited too.
Cool. Anybody else have comments for Terry? Any additional?
Come on, I know you do. Come on. Tell me something good. She's like Shaka Khan.
I totally agree with what Suzanne said. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Tomorrow when you go in, talk to your main guy. But since he's leaving, you got to talk to somebody else too and get the scoop from them too, because everybody's opinion is different and everybody's thing's different.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I like her suggestion of, you know,